And we're back. So, the two of you get to the end of the line at the GPPF Hall of Records.
End of the line, they're gonna execute us.
Hello. What can I assist you with?
Well, Galfine, our resident talker here, would like to discuss this with you. Hi!
Hi.
Hi, we are here looking for some information on a Miss Aura Sounds, let me check her last name, no, hold on. I'm thinking.
Meadow Dropper?
Aura Sounds Meta Dropper.
Oh, one moment, please. I think we might have a bit of a complication here.
I hope not. That would be a grave inconvenience.
Yes, Aura Sounds Meadow Dropper is a high classification status of information. We're going to need to ask a few questions of you.
Sure.
Are you employees of the Ministry of Trade?
No.
Do you have
No
ancestry reasons to be looking for Aura Sounds?
Well, one of our good buddies is actually Aura Sound's great-granddaughter.
Right, and I'm her sister.
Do you know Meg?
No, that was a joke. I'm sorry. I thought you were just giving me a... I just thought you were spinning me a yarn to try to get past things.
No,
Meg, you're not there.
One of our compatriots is actually Aura Sound's great-granddaughter. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it for the trip, but that is one of the reasons we do want information on her.
Mm-hmm. Lots of people come around like trying to get information about celebrities of sorts. But,
celebrities?
Yes.
Why was she a celebrity?
That's, I'm sure, part of what you want to know.
It wasn't actually.
Then what are you here for? Why do you want to know this information?
So we acquired a property recently, and we know that she was one of the prior owners, and so we're trying to find out some more information about it.
What is the address of this property?
Give you the address.
Okay. One moment. I do see that was linked to her prosecution.
Uh-oh.
If you are the current recipient, then I suppose you'll be entitled to full access to the notes that she has with regard to that property. Please give me one moment to speak with my superiors. She steps away from the counter for a few minutes, talks to a few people.
Galfine, what do you think she was prosecuted for?
She then comes back to the desk. All right. They're going to look into your ownership rights. They are having a few people send a few messages at the moment. We will have an answer to your access shortly. If you please just have a seat over there, and someone will call you.
How are you looking into it? You didn't even ask my name.
We know your name.
How do you know my name?
Your Pax, that's Galfine.
How do you know?
You entered into this building.
Ooh.
And?
That's all we need. Didn't you read the consent sign out there in Gnomish?
I don't read Gnomish.
Oh. Do most people enter into buildings with large signs in foreign writing that they're not familiar with?
Yes.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Well, you're not most people.
I like signs. They inform people of a lot of important information.
Well, then you should have them in more accessible languages, please, and thank you.
I mean, you're here in the GPPF, right? You would know Gnomish, and you come into a government building for gnomes.
Right, but people other than gnomes need access.
Not typically, no.
I mean, clearly it happens.
It's okay. All you've done is you've consented to us pulling some rudimentary information about who it is you are. That's all. Just in the event we need that information.
Okay.
Please have a seat, and we'll call you when we're ready.
Okay. Where did Meg go?
Meg's not here. Oh, you mean from the call? I didn't even notice.
Is somebody trying to visit me?
Hazel's going absolutely batshit crazy.
Do you want to put her in here for a minute?
No, it won't change anything. She'll just go crazy more.
Sorry.
So, after a few minutes, probably about 10 or 15 minutes, excuse me, Miss Pax? Miss Pax? Will you please step forward?
Yes, the real Pax will stand up.
Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down, Hazel. Calm down. Calm down.
She need to go in the bathroom for a little bit.
Calm down. No, she's okay. Okay.
She's hungry for headset cords again.
No, she's just like freaking out. So the two of you head up to the counter, and now we must warn you before you are subjected to this information. We've done a lot of looking into and confirming that you are who you say you are. In addition to that you do have access to the property that you have access to. And we have discovered that you are, in fact, the current pending owners of a specific location that was once the property of Aura Sounds.
Yep.
Here is the documentation that we have regarding her and that property. And they, drop a large stack of documents on the counter in front of you. These
What
are your
language
copies.
are they in?
They are in Gnomish.
Can we keep them then? You said these are our copies?
Those are your copies. I'll need you to real quickly run your hand over the run a finger over the edge of them. As you do so, you notice that each of the pages for a moment gets a little bit of skin coloration across it where your finger runs, but then it fades back to its normal whitish color. All right, these are bonded to you. These pages, if you do not keep track of them effectively, if they end up in the possession of somebody else, they will be destroyed.
Is it okay for me to have somebody help me read them? Because I can't read Gnomish.
Sure, that can be arranged. Just make sure that you are handing them off and that they're not simply picking up the item off of your possession. There needs to be a you touching, them touching procedure that is done on each sheet as you pass it from one person to another.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, Gelfine, can you carry all this?
I suppose.
Okay. So she
I guess
hands
that's
you.
what I'm here for.
She hands you the papers, and you can make your way to where from here.
I wanna. I'll bottle message folks to see where they're at so we can meet up.
Okay. Where is everybody?
I'm without my stuff in a room where the doors are locked and I can't get in.
No, you just go back outside of the room.
Oh.
Just go out the door and you'll be where you need to be.
I was hoping I had to wait for somebody else to walk in.
Nope.
We got that info. I tell her what the information said.
As you type in that information, there is a giant black bar. Or as you write out that information, there's a giant black bar that appears over every word that you put in there.
That's not going to work. Guess this will have to wait until we're together.
Okay. Where do you want to meet up?
Where do you want to meet up?
Is my room done being scribe proof yet?
Oh yeah, your room has been scribe proof for a little while.
That's where we should meet up.
Let's go find Zug so we can go use his room.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll meet you there.
You guys all meet up at Zug's apartment. Inside, it is very strange to step inside. The floor, the walls, the ceiling all have a bit of a dim luster to them, but they are relatively gray still, but with a little bit of sparkling that reflects off of any light that any of you might have or that might be in the room. It is contrasted very significantly by the bed and the table and the bookshelf. Each of these items looks very very unique in the background of the room. Zug, this is kind of your first time really being inside of here since this transition. And one of the things that I think you'll kind of notice is this room's lacking some floor decor and some wall decor, because right now it is very silvery, kind of like a silvery gray, just all around. It's very, very plain, and it feels more empty in here than it did when you had the wood walls and the wood floor. There is a note on your desk that has been left behind for you once things were finished. They asked what you wanted to do about the flooring and the walling, whether or not you wanted to do some kind of cover-up for this kind of stuff. They still have some of the pieces from the old walls and floor and ceiling, but they don't know that it would mount very well. But they've got some other means they think they might be able to do to build kind of a room inside of the room, but it's going to reduce the square footage of the room by doing so. But they've left you a couple of different ideas to think about, but you don't need to get to that now, obviously. But here, as you walk in as well, you notice there is a silence that all but one of you have never felt before. A silence of no magic hum that you would normally hear, normally out in the world. All the items that are magical give off this kind of very faint kind of that does not exist in this room. Many of your items that do have residual connective magic are off. Your bottles do not function. Some of your magical items act a little bit wonky while you're in here. They may not necessarily give off the same level of power that they would typically give off. But there is an echo in any sound that you make or any words that you say. Just a soft echo. It's not a large room, but it's tight enough and sealed enough that words will bounce. But here you feel the most away you have from anything in your entire lives, except Harcourt, who's been in this situation once before.
So comfortable in here. I feel like I should take a nap.
So all of you have a lot of information. Also, the papers in this room do not have that limitation. The papers that you got from the PPF, the papers do not have that limitation. You can simply hand them around, or people can pick them up. So long as you're in this room, they are detached from the magic that links them back to the GPPF.
Okay.
No,
Well,
I do have gnome.
Okay.
Who do we want to start with?
Well, here, I think, why don't we have everybody give me a knowledge history and a knowledge local and a knowledge arcana, since these are, and a knowledge religion. Everybody that has any of those can give me checks relevant.
You said arcana?
Yeah, arcana, history, local, and religion.
Ooh, I got 23 that time.
You did. It's a good roll.
Oh,
Got a pair of 22s.
Okay, thank you, Pax. Thank you, Meg. Can we get Galfine's roll in here? She's still in this room. And you do still have local. And you have a really high local. There we go.
I'm not very helpful at all.
There we
Why
go.
would I ever be helpful?
So, all together, you guys have the litany of rolls that we need. There's a lot of information to parse through here, and it is a very good thing that you're looking at this information in a sealed environment. Looking through the notes that you have from Aura Sounds. Aura Sounds is the person who basically put in the money and the time to purchase the building that each of you are currently staying in. She acquired it using assets that she had earned by helping to build up and establish her own family's business and a bit of a legacy in the city, in the country of RA4, in the city of Catheros.
Wait, she purchased the Fam Hands building?
Yeah. No, she not the Fam Hands building. She
You
purchased
said the building that we're staying in. We're
I'm
not
sorry,
staying
not staying in.
Centipede.
Yes, forgive me. I misspoke. Misspeeches
Okay.
happen.
That's fine. Just clarify.
In the building that you've recently acquired.
Okay.
She had come to the GPPF when her daughter had came here alongside of I'm sorry, not alongside. These notes would say these notes would say alongside of her partner. When she acquired the building, it was her intent to use it as a research facility. But when asked about like who was going to use the research facility initially when she acquired it, she has no recollection of whom she had acquired it for. And in fact, the things for her start getting very weird because like documentation and information about her, she starts like allowing people to do these weird amounts of research. There's a lot of mention about her daughter and about mysterious missing information that she's discovering as things are happening. That she repeats, like my daughter says. There's a lot of lines that are like, according to her daughter, there is a, and then she like lists a concept, an arcane concept, and like there's a lot of these repeated things going on where she references her daughter in a lot of things. But a lot of these concepts are very foreign concepts to most people who don't have a very deep knowledge of magic. Referencing this timetable with the stuff that's going on in the life of Finbar, you notice that right as like Aura Sound seems like she's losing it completely. Right, she's talked to a bunch of different people. allowed a bunch of different businesses to go in there and been taken advantage of each time. Every research company that she's brought in has done something terrible to her, or they've ripped her off in some way, or they've taken advantage of the wealth that she's using to kind of fund this research, and then producing no results from it, but maybe producing something else on the side. So there's a history of like a bunch of different organizations that get very wealthy, but not off of any of the research she's asking them to do. All the research notes that she have all kind of repeat the same, like, they said this, it didn't do this didn't happen, this didn't happen.
What was she trying to have happen?
That is where, unfortunately, your Arcana checks didn't come out high enough to really understand what it is you're looking at in the like kind of concepts that she's talking about. She's talking about some very top level arcane concepts. So that's kind of the one area you're missing here. Otherwise, what you do end up learning pretty clearly from this is that when Finbar, around the time that Finbar produces the item that he does for Cadell, Orasound's notes say that Finbar comes in and presents her with an offer to potentially solve her problem by eliminating a disease that he believes that people are infected with. But he talks about how, in order to do so, he's going to have to create a disease that will feed off of the disease. He talks about how each of them have become infected with a disease of the mind, a disease which has separated them from the reality that was meant to be, and they're instead living in a false reality. And this disease that he is working on can specifically remove that disease by placing into their heads the memories they're supposed to have, they're meant to have. And for some reason, this seems along the lines of what Orasounds is after. And just after that, tons of money from Orasounds is funneled into Cadell's project.
Hold on, so he came up with a disease that's supposed to cure a disease where people have like a false reality?
Where people are believing a false reality. With the 30 that you got in knowledge local, Galfine, as you're going through all these notes, you notice that there are a number of references to the letter Z specifically. You would know that there is a cult that exists in Akunsaunt. They are a fringe group belonging to House Zoe. They believe in a existence beyond this existence. They believe that currently what people are experiencing is a disease that needs to be cured. And that the only cure is like bringing people to understand the falsehood that is this reality. And this is very strongly in line with what the notes that you read here talk about. This is when you, Harcourt, will remember something from your dad had, when your uncle had you and your brothers together, there were a few things that were left over that your dad had like taken with him when he had ran away from your grandfather before you got picked up by your uncle. I'm doing this history correct, right? Your dad ran off, got your mom pregnant, and had taken some stuff from
Harcourt's father left the family because he'd squandered all their money, and she left, and the mother left him.
Right, but I'm saying when he left the farm The original harvest farm.
Roderick.
Right.
He left because his mother was murdered.
Okay. Wait, Roderick's wife? Or what? Wait.
Roderick's mother was murdered in front of him.
That was something that we didn't historically talk about.
Because she was murdered by the 3 guys that took and came to the farm who was chasing the guy who was carrying the medallion.
Okay. Yeah, I must have missed that a little bit, but that's fine. So in this, so correcting this a little bit, that would still mean that your father would have still had some like notes or documents or paperwork from the old Harvest Farm.
Nope, because Grimshaw was never taught to read. Roderick forbade it.
But he still wouldn't take certain things from there?
The only thing
that he would have thought were valuable?
The only thing he was allowed to take was his armor. Was to take Roderick's armor and a bag of money.
Okay.
He was kicked out of the quote unquote town shortly after he turned 18.
Okay. Hold on a sec.
Because Grimshaw no longer exists in this world.
Right. Well, I know how Grimshaw left. I remembered that part. But I thought when Grimshaw left, Grimshaw had taken some extra stuff with him. I didn't realize he had left the documents behind.
He took nothing.
Because there were some notes there. Well, what if there were a gem-encrusted book? Would he have taken that, do you think? And sold it off? Or because he was a gambler, right?
Right, because he took a month's worth of money from Roderick. Because remember, you were giving that everybody was getting a stipend every month.
Correct.
And the stipend was quite huge. So Roderick just gave him a month's stipend.
Yeah, so Grimshaw very likely would have taken a very valuable book, and would have probably.
You could say that Grimshaw would have remembered it, but okay.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not important that he remembers it. It's important that the book did end up moving locations, because ultimately that was something that is supposed to trigger off something else that happens with regard to the 3 Harvest's grandchildren. Because that ultimately ends up back in your uncle's hands, which ultimately is a point of note that you'll remember from this. You do remember that book as being something that was linked to you, a book with a giant letter Z on the front of it, that had something to do with your grandfather. That would be all you would know about it. Is that there's some book with a giant letter Z that was part that your grandfather had, and that your uncle ended up getting back at some point. But that's all the info you would have about it. But you would know that book is like a real thing that does exist, or you would know that is a book that exists, and that might be what this Z thing that she's referencing throughout the document is, or throughout all these notes is. Okay, I think that makes everything work out okay. And then from the knowledge religion is where you guys know that the disease that is being referenced, the disease is unnamed because the name of the disease basically erases itself when it is named. The disease is not supposed to exist. God damn it, the cams are fucked up again. The disease itself kind of writes itself out of existence over and over and over again. So like right now, if one of you were to say like, well, let's just refer to this disease as disease blah blah blah, none of you would be able to remember the disease. Like you would go, the disease. What were we calling it? And then no one would be able to reply with what the name of it is. The actual fundamentals of this disease are the disease itself cannot be remembered.
Even if we don't have the disease?
You can't name the disease. You all actually, what you're starting to realize is that you all actually probably have this reference disease. And that potentially everybody has this disease. And historically, this kind of checks out because this is when Akunsaunt closes off to the rest of the world. And this is when, like, you need travel permits and other things to move in and out of Akunsaunt.
And this disease makes me feel like gathering a bunch of powerful magical artifacts together into one spot.
And then throwing them all in a sphere of annihilation.
Yep.
But those are the details with the current notes you have to go off of. Any questions or thoughts or confusions?
This whole thing is confusing.
Yeah, it's sort of designed to be. It's a pretty big.
It's very hard to take notes on.
Especially when your notes on the disease will be gone next time you look at it.
No, you can keep notes on the disease. You just can't name the disease.
Okay.
The name of the disease wipes away.
So that's all the information that we got from all the materials for both Finbar and Orasounds?
Yeah, that's a lot of information. And
I'm
a lot
just
of very
asking.
key information. A lot of pieces of key information.
What if we capitalize the T and the E in the disease?
You guys will be like, why did we start writing capitals here? And after a little while, you'll find yourself like forgetting about the disease and then like reminding yourselves when you read about the disease again.
I have no idea what to do with this information.
Well, there's still one specific person that you guys have not gotten information about.
So do you guys want to go try and learn about a third person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well. It's going to put everything together.
Okay. Where are you going to go to find this information?
We have to go to the Hall of Records
Where?
at the Ministry of Trade.
Okay. So
Just
Zug,
trying to see if I remember.
let me see some of your form filling out skills in action.
All right.
If it'll pop up.
Yeah, because I clicked it. I'm waiting to see. All right, I'm clicking it again.
Okay. I bet you have to. Oh, there it is. All right.
Oh, there's both of them.
And both were good rolls. So, on a 25, you will successfully fill out a form for Cadell Perry using all of the information that you have that should be pertinent. You have the current location that you're in. You have his references to Aura Sounds and Cadell and Finbar, and the device that he used to manufacture the disease. You can put in the notes related to like how it relates to a number of other things that you're looking into. And after a short bit, you fill in the form. After a little while of sitting around, your name eventually gets called by the name Zug. And the ministry will take you to a specific section of the Ministry building. The Ministry building is a rather ornate and large building that resides in House Narenhawk. You have to be confirmed in very carefully. You have to leave weapons behind when you enter the
What about
building.
sock puppets?
And sock puppets. And you are eventually taken into a room that is sealed off, and you have some documents that are placed in front of you in a series of boxes on a very large table in a very cold and empty room.
Are these for us looking at here, or we're able to take them with us?
You cannot take the documents with you. If you want copies made, you can request copies made of some things, but copies here do cost money. Each sheet that you want copied is... I gotta look this up real quick. There's a spell that relates to this. Not memorize page. What the hell's the name of it?
Copy cost.
Charles used to use this spell all the time.
Charles is gone now, okay?
I know. I'll if I can find the other one that's not what I'm looking for. And we'll say in total, if you wanted to copy all this stuff, you'd be looking at thousands of gold. Because it's something along the lines of 10 gold apiece. Because these have to be done a very specific way. Each of these pages is not on regular paper. It's on a magically modified paper. So what they actually have to do is they have to have a number of wizards cast a spell that allows them to line by line duplicate the text onto another page.
All right, I'm gonna start reading.
So here, let me have the same set of checks: history, local, arcana, and religion. And I will roll for Charles's religion. There's more rolls I think that people can make.
It just takes time to load it.
Yep. Damn. 32
Did my
on that
nature
local.
come up?
I didn't say nature. Local, arcana, history, religion.
History.
Okay. Alright, let's see here. What do we got? 22, 32, 23, and... still guys blowing it on that arcana. Damn.
Wait. Can I roll a perform instead of a knowledge, or is that not a thing?
Nope, that's not a thing.
Okay.
But you got those skill boost and bard ability.
Yeah,
right?
you also technically
skill
have the one that would allow you to take 10 on something, but that's not better than what you rolled on your arcana here. You also have one that once per day, I think, lets you get a 20 on something, but you have to do it before. You have to declare it before you roll.
We also already got higher than the 20.
No, it lets you declare that you're getting a natural 20, and then you add your bonuses to it. Even still, this is going to get you a lot of good information. So, with the information you have here about Cadell's goings on, along with the information you got from everybody else, you will be able to unveil a few things. All of Cadell's personal study notes are included in here. They were collected from Cadell and put in these archives at the same time Cadell was arrested and put away. He was not allowed to recollect them, as after he served his sentence of a lifetime, his continued life was considered not to be. He basically wasn't eligible to pick up his items because as far as numerically speaking, he was dead on paper. So all of his things had become like owned by the state, and he lacked the proper legal understanding in order to kind of fight and get his stuff back, which works out quite beneficial to you, because in this documentation you will find that the disease that he is talking about people having initially, he equates to a very strong magical condition that, again, none of you guys quite understand the meaning of. But he has a lot of details about how everybody in the entire world, everybody that is a natural born person from this world is affected by this disease. And it cannot be passed from person to person. It is merely passed by production of another person. That outsiders aren't affected by it, that people who are manufactured, like constructs or whatnot, are not affected by it.
My Warforged's character.
That never is going to happen. Yes, that character.
Wait, so you're saying it's just people who are born in Akunsaunt?
No, people that are born in this world have this disease.
Okay.
Sometimes he refers to the disease as existence. He says like it's just a side effect of existence. With the history check, you'll know for certain that he was a devout worshiper in some kind of religion called Z. He talks a lot about the false reality that everyone lives in, and how he'll have a cure in his early notes, and then once he produces the cure, his notes get very crazy. He starts talking about how, like, he can't believe it's taking so long to affect people, or that something else is fighting it, something beyond what he knows. He starts blaming the gods at first, and then realizes that, like, even religious magic can't remove or amend this disease, so this might be like a cover-up that the gods are doing. But then his notes get really crazy. He starts talking about how, like, about people that don't exist. How he's met people that, like, shouldn't be, they can't be, they have no parents, they have no grandparents, they have no history. But yet they walk around and they talk. And he himself, like, has fallen victim to this as he asks people about who he is and where he came from. And he starts discovering that his lineage has no top. He has no, like, great-grandfather. He has no great-grandmother. He is as if he was fabricated here. And yet he still is somehow affected by this disease. This disease that he can prove using special equipment that he also had the person from House Rourke produce for him. Something that specifically detects within blood a specific series of things that identifies the disease to be false, or that displays the disease to be true. Sorry, I know I keep misspeaking.
No, mostly my head is just getting swamped with all of this.
I'll give you a TLDR at the end of this, as best I can.
Yeah.
Okay, we could have just done the TLDR.
No, because some of this might be, like, useful. There are other things that you can extrapolate from this, and the TLDR may not give you everything that you might want from this, or might find useful from this. With the knowledge local, Galfine, you will know that the cult that does exist, that roams around House So, looking at the notes here and looking at some of the people that he's referencing, you'll realize he's using a code that you used to remember working within House Rourke, or at least talking to some of your superiors in House Rourke. It is a code used to like define specific people that are well-to-do in House So that don't want to be mixed in with these things, but do still believe in this stuff. And one of the names you'll recognize is cut up into multiple pieces throughout things. Like he references like a couple of letters for a name, which doesn't make sense, and then he'll reference another couple of letters. But then you'll eventually put together, like, why do all these letters kind of fit together? And you'll realize that the person he is referencing is one of the most profound people in all of House So, James T. Zoe.
What a
That sounds
dick.
familiar.
It's because he's a dick.
The notes talk about how he isn't necessarily a follower of this Z. He is someone who is a significant supporter of Z and was in favor of trying to help make sure that this virus that Cadell was working on would come to its completion.
It's mostly because he's a jackass.
And I think that is all that you get. So the long and the short of this is that Cadell Perry produced a disease in order to remove a disease that all beings birthed within this world are affected by. That there are some people that exist that have no timeline beyond. There's like a point at which their timeline ends. If you go up in their timeline, they have no maybe grandparents or parents or whatever, which kind of goes along with what Meg has said before about how Meg doesn't. Meg's grandmother talked about how she had a husband, and that's where, or a partner, and that's where Meg came from. And this partner was very influential in starting the GPPF. It goes to, there's another person in House Ruxpin that he references that has that same like dead end. And a few other people. But whatever it is locked behind whatever this arcane term that you're looking for is. Any questions?
What do we do with all this information?
We discover what the disease is, of course.
TD.
The other part of what you will learn. Sorry, I realize there's one other thing that is of benefit to you that you will get out of all of this. You'll find out that the hole that exists underneath the building is actually connected to a world far beneath Akunsaunt, a world which every book says does not exist, and a world, and it is called the world of Redacted. The entire next series of information has been redacted.
It's called the world of.
And then there's nothing. There's like a giant black bar that follows after
that's
that.
Not helpful then.
Fantastic.
So
Good to
there's
know.
just a world beneath Akunsaunt.
At this point, everyone that has it can give me another knowledge history.
Is it a whole new world?
Nope, it is not a whole new world for you.
I've been sitting here being quiet, and I had to risk it and shut down just to make that Little Mermaid reference.
Pax. So you can put this together by sitting on this for a moment and thinking. And then remembering something that you've, I think actually earlier in the campaign, heard somebody call reference to. There is supposedly, this has been rumored, and a lot of people have said that like it no longer exists. It's never existed. It's been cleaned out. It's been emptied. But you remember a reference to a place known as the Underdark or the Deep Dark. It is a place where that once upon a time was run by a group of creatures called Dark Elves.
Wait, I don't understand. I'm just like remembering this out of nowhere.
No, you're not remembering this out of nowhere. This is something that you've picked up notes from here and there, like little notes of it here and there.
Just that there is a place called the Underdark run by Dark Elves.
That is supposed to exist far below Akunsaunt. But it's not believed to be real. Like, it's kind of like being told that, you know, there is supposedly Atlantis somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. Or potentially in the Mediterranean Sea, or in, you know, it exists, but it doesn't exist.
Okay. Pax wants things to simplify. This is too much for her little brain.
Well, you could journey down there and get simple answers.
That doesn't seem like a smart plan.
I don't know, that if you want simple answers, you just have to go and get the answers to the questions.
Yeah, let's go to a place where people die. No, thanks. It's bad enough we're gonna have to go down there to see the goblins anyways.
The reason, do you wish there were more information, but unfortunately a lot of the rest of it, like I said, is redacted. There's lots of information.
I feel like
that
there's
pertains to
too
it.
much information.
Sorry. You didn't have to look into any of this. This is an optional
All right.
side quest.
Let's bust out the feather falls and head on down.
I mean, technically, Harcourt, this is a way out of Akunsaunt.
So's dying. Dying's a way out of Akunsaunt too.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Whatever this Underdark is, Deep Dark. It's a fine place. It sounds nice, right?
Smells of Shuggoth.
Oh no, that's further up actually. You gotta go a lot further down. And this is like a one-way hole. You'll just get right there. It's the express ramp.
Still smells like Shuggoth.
All right. Anything else that you guys want to do with this information?
I don't know. Meg, are you sleeping?
So the disease
I'm not sleeping. I'm just kind of.
sounds kind of like Harcourt's ability to see colors on people, right?
There's some similarities that seem to that might link between the two.
Are you seeing levels of the disease?
But then part of that wouldn't make sense because when he saw that demon, when he saw that demon, he saw the demon as colored, whereas demons are outsiders. They would not be from this world directly. So in theory, then that maybe should have been colored. So you do actually have a point where you'll be able to separate those two.
Alright. I think we should check out this cult.
Like, how would we do that?
Go become members.
Yeah, man. Let's go join them.
I'd rather jump down the hole, thanks.
I mean, hey, we can split up.
Don't split the party that way.
We could find an old man, and then they will somehow know where the cult is at, and even though they don't seem like they're involved with it, they will be.
This isn't Pathfinder
have to beat up
Society.
the old
This is
man?
the Shadow Lodge.
Do we have to beat up an old man to gain the secret password to the cult?
Probably.
Wrong game.
Not be the first time I event with Steve where he required.
What? I didn't catch any of that. What do you guys want to do?
Well, currently we know Zug's feeling is go join the cult. Let's go join a cult.
It'll be a nice bonding activity.
Hardcore, what do you think we should do?
So our choices are join a cult, jump down a hole.
Anything else?
Continue on
Anything
other
else?
plans that you're working on currently.
Continue on other plans so we can get this damn ring, so we can get the timelines fixed, so we don't have to worry about this disease. Or at the very least, I don't have to worry about them. Because I'll be dead and somewhere else. But not dead. I don't want to confuse you guys.
It's far too late for that.
What do you think, Delphine?
I say we not jump down the hole and not join the cult.
Okay, so what do we do then if we don't do those things?
Technically, with your knowledge checks, Galfine, you do know where you could find some cult members, though. Technically,
Yes.
just putting that out there.
But
If you wanted to join that cult, you know where they're at.
yeah, no thanks, I'm good. Well, I mean, we bought a whole building for the express purpose of this whole, like,
Two. We have 2 buildings.
yeah. For the purpose of getting some rings. So we might as well not let the building go to waste.
Okay, by doing what?
You know, the thing we got the building for.
Yeah, so continuing on the ring plan and waiting for the floor to get finished being covered over. Now that you just know it's a pit to the Underdark.
We could change it over and turn it and put a door on it and charge admission.
Yeah, no, I mean, we should make it to where we can go through it if we want to.
A trapdoor, that way we can lure people into the basement and just drop them into the Underdark.
With a ticket booth. A trapdoor with a ticket booth. Exciting
we-
one-way vacations.
Yeah, maybe we got some enemies that we want to make disappear. We just throw them down the hole.
After we charge them tickets. Tell them this is the best place for them to go.
Right.
Maybe we don't feel like walking out to the trash can. We just throw some stuff down the hole.
I like that even better.
Well, we already have people who are filling the hole, so if you actually want to do anything else with it, you're gonna need to talk to somebody about that. I think filling the hole seems like the safest option.
Yeah, we don't want anything coming up out of the hole while we're off joining this cult.
Yeah, we're throwing shit down it. Stuff could crawl out, like I don't know, anteaters.
But that would have taken care of our centipede problem.
No, they eat ants, not centipedes.
So are they making a door or are they making a floor?
Floor.
Door.
Floor.
What do you say, Galfine? Door or
Stairway.
floor?
Stairway.
Are we worried about big things coming up or small things?
Anythings. It could be a horde of small things. It could be locusts.
I was thinking if we just made it one person wide, then like
dangerous.
giant things couldn't come up, but we can
Yeah.
still drop like single people at a time down.
Yeah, I like
And
it.
bags of garbage.
Yeah.
The underworld is not a trash bin, people.
Two.
Says the underworld elves. Thank you very much.
Have you spoken with them?
Yeah.
Oh, you've spoken with them.
So you've already joined this cult without telling us?
Oh, like
First it was the haunted bedroom, now it's a cult of drow.
we leave you alone for 5 minutes.
Didn't take me that long.
It's probably from the disease, right?
TD.
But which disease?
TD.
The disease that someone made or the disease that you already have?
Disease that we have that we can't remember that we have.
We just can't do it.
No, you also will regularly forget about it if you don't if there's not something reminding you.
Like my tattoo that says the disease.
Then you're just like, what is the disease? Is that a band? Did I like this band? Why did I get a tattoo of it?
Well, I assumed it would be more like you kept forgetting you got the tattoo, so now you have 30 of them tattooed all over yourself.
I must really like this band.
I think we should just fill up the hole entirely. That is my vote.
Actually, I just realized something. Harcourt, you're perpetually wearing the monocle, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. So in Cadell's notes, there is one place where one of the documents has a stain on it, which everybody would see. It normally it looks like somebody, if somebody was eating chips and their hands got greasy and they put their finger down and it made a grease stain.
It's blood. Who are you kidding? It's blood.
To everybody else, that stain looks like just a stain of grease. With the monocle on, that stain is red and strong.
Okay. So why is this all so is it blood red or just red?
It's like the light red. Whenever you see the lighting colors, like when you're looking at a person and you would see them outlined in red, but this stain is outlined in red.
Okay. So after a few moments of playing, why is that a color?
What?
The grease stain? What are you talking about?
That's not. It's not a grease stain.
Yeah, when
red.
you cover up one way, it's very clearly a grease stain, and then it goes red, and then it goes grease stain, and then it goes red.
Yeah, no, that's something. That's that same red we see on people just before they, decide to kill us.
Oh, sorry, which page is it on?
It's just on a random sheet of one of the random documents. It's not on any specific page.
All right, so
So you're saying the page it's on isn't meaningful?
No, the page itself isn't meaningful. Just it being marked there is meaningful.
So what's the stained word say?
It's not a word that's stained.
Not
It's
a
like
word,
it's a
it's just-
different. It's like if
it's
somebody was
just a
holding
stain.
it and somebody's finger had like grease on it, and they like grabbed it and then they like pulled their thumb away, you'd have like the grease stain there from their thumb.
Oh, I thought you said it was a town name.
No, like if you're eating potato chips, and then like your fingers get all greasy and you put your thumb on a piece of
Cheetos.
paper. No, like potato chips, because it's that grease color. That like normally it would make the object transparent, but now that it's dried for long enough, it just has that kind of like tinted color that makes the paper look a little bit different.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'll detect magic on it.
It is not magical.
What else do I have? Anything else that might be? Read magic.
Nope.
Can I perform and see if it'll come to life?
It will not.
So it's a blank page with a stain.
It's no. There's information on it, but none of the
Just
information is
unimportant.
important. Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. Even more confusion. Haha.
Why is this a
I'll
good
request to pay for a copy of this.
Okay.
See if that's
Yeah. When they
stained.
make the copy will have the stain on it, but the stain will not be red.
Okay.
And somebody needs to pay 15 gold.
Take it out of the party fund.
The accountant got it.
Okay. Actually, I guess when you detect magic, you would detect magic on this, because the paper is magical. It's like sealed in a special like thing.
Yeah. I mean, I won't bother trying to look in at what type of magic. Since,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You already know that magic is the same as what's on the rest of the piece of paper. But
So I guess I try to taste it.
okay. You lean in and you put your tongue to the paper.
Oh.
And I'm gonna need you to give me a fort save.
Okay.
Why would you lick the paper?
I mean, it might have identified what it was. That's. I
Mm,
don't know. We were
ketchup.
out of ideas here, so.
Oh, why didn't you think of that, Pax?
I'm not gonna lick the paper.
Might have
I'm
been a
not an
snack
animal.
on there.
It has a very weird taste. Like like the smell or feeling you get when you walk into like a room where a lot of sick people, like a quarantine room. I don't know if anybody's ever like experienced walking into like a doctor's office where everybody is clearly sick in the waiting room, and then you like come in and there's like that kind of smell and taste in the air of just like sick people. It's kind of like
You're gonna die now. Good job.
damp and musky and just leaves like a weird taste in your mouth, but doesn't seem to have any other adverse effects on you.
Okay.
There's a little bit of like a tingle on your tongue, and that sensation that kind of fills your nose and your mouth for a moment is a bit like almost retching, but not like you want to throw up. Just like, when you first walk in, it's kind of like, oh.
Okay. Could I like knowledge local to see if maybe I can identify like
It's
kind
not
of the place
local.
that gave me that sort of feeling?
Yeah, not local related. And there's no you can think of other places that have given you the feeling, but it's not the same kind of thing.
Okay.
Anybody else want to taste it? Mm-mm.
Oh
No.
no.
It tasted substantial.
I mean, we'd just be tasting Zug's spit anyway.
Actually, while this is happening, Harcourt would have had the monocle on and probably been watching it. So for a moment, there's like a little space on Zug's tongue that starts to glow a little bit red, and then it kind of like fades away.
That wasn't good. I don't recommend touching that with your body parts again. Particularly your internal body parts.
Anybody
I'm
Hear
not a
that?
doctor. I'm not a doctor, so I could be wrong.
Is it something that maybe we could like lightly scrape some of it off into like a, I don't know, some sort of like slide or something like that?
I don't know. You guys can play around with it for a little bit. Does somebody have like cloth or something, or like maybe they want to take a dagger to it and see, and then put it into something? What's the method that you would try at this?
So are you thinking this is the disease? Is that what you're thinking here?
I don't know. What I'm interested in doing right now is to make it mobile, to take it with us.
Now, which papers are these on? The ones that we got or the ones that Pax got?
These are the research notes of Cadell Perry.
Okay. So these are the third ones.
Mm-hmm.
Could we just cut a piece of the paper off?
The paper is protected against having damage done to it. Like the physical paper itself cannot be damaged.
Well, if that's the case, then we're not even going to be able to scrape anything off of it.
Well, you know from what happened to his tongue, whatever this was able to kind of reach out and cross his tongue. So whatever's covering the paper might not be separating the paper from whatever's on the paper, or maybe the protection only stops the paper from being damaged in certain ways.
So someone should try and scrape.
In this case, actually, Tom, at this point, give me a knowledge arcana. Okay, so you know the protective spell that's on this paper is specific to non-organic matter protection. That way you don't have to put as much magical energy into it. Because if you were protecting arcane, if you were protecting living matter, you need much more powerful magic because it's much more... there's many more things that could be a problem. But this is just specific to inorganic matter, like, you know, this paper that's been long dead. Maybe at one point living matter, but now no longer. It's kind of like a extrapolation of a few different like low-level protective spells that have all kind of been blended together. So if this thing that's on this thing is, you know, organic or living in some way, it would not be protected in the same way as the paper itself.
We got a small jar we could scrape something into?
I don't know. Does somebody have a jar on their character sheet?
No, I do not.
I mean, I could just drink this potion on cure light wounds.
Okay.
to
Yeah,
get us
that's
an
a good
empty,
use.
to give us an empty flask.
What if we drop the cure light wound on the stain?
I mean, we could try.
We someone can drink one of the bottles of wine.
Excuse me?
Don't we have wine?
We paid
in
money
the-
for those.
Do you have another suggestion? I'm at least not talking about wasting a potion.
It's a potion to cure light.
The wine survives before the potions do. It's fantastic.
It's not like this wine is made from the blood of the living.
But yeah, should we try and get a drop of the cure light onto it?
I like that idea.
Okay. So you'll take and you'll pour the bit of cure light on it. And it won't have any effect. It doesn't end up staining the paper though, weirdly. The cure light just kind of like hits it and then rolls off.
Okay. So at least now we know we could, if we scrape something off into the cure light bottle, it's not going to do anything. So yeah, now you can go ahead and drink that.
Okay. You chug down the cure light, and then can scrape what you can off of this into the bottle. And you can watch as like little tiny red bits do fall down into the bottle.
Okay.
And you can like shake it around and see the little tiny flecks of red light that are on the inside of this bottle.
Okay, it's in there.
Should we ask the priests what to do with it? They know anything about it?
But if I'm the only one who can see it,
They might be able to.
okay.
I don't know.
You guys want to take this to the clerics?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Also, was it like left on? Was there also some left on the
Yeah,
paper?
there's still some left on the paper. You can't quite scrape all of it off. Like some of it is like physically in with the paper, but you can manage to get like a little bit of whatever this is into there. So it's like little tiny flecks of red that are kind of inside of this thing. And once you guys get out of here and head back outside, where are you keeping the bottle in your bag? Or are you carrying the bottle in your hand? Where is the bottle right now?
Well, it's in my backpack.
Okay. All right. So you guys head over to, I'm assuming, the Clerics of Shishat.
Yes.
Okay. And they are happy to meet with you. Hello, young ones.
Oh my god, my notes for this game are so long.
Means they're
What a
good.
weird thing for you to say, Pax.
Hi, clerics. Meg, are you gonna talk? Okay. Hi, clerics.
What can we help you with?
We have an unidentified, perhaps demonic substance we thought you might be able to help us identify.
A demonic substance? Like, do you have it with you?
Yeah, we have a little sample in a bottle here.
You hand over the bottle, this empty bottle. There's nothing in it.
There's a little scraping from a stain.
It's the residue. It gets you.
Harcourt, as they're holding it in front of them and you're looking through it, you notice that like the light has kind of like spread out a bit on the inside. It's still like the same brightness, but it's like spread over a wider area. So it's like faint, like if you took a high intensity flashlight, but then you took all the like the photons and spread them out over the same amount of space. So it's still giving off like the same radius and intensity of light, just in a just throughout more of the bottle itself. Like there's a cloud of this red on the inside instead of just these little tiny flecks that were emitting the light.
Okay, so we're not flecks anymore. Now the whole inside of the bottle has turned red.
I'm sorry, there's nothing in here. Should
Figured
I
you wouldn't be able to see it.
uncork it?
No, let's not do that. That might be a bad idea.
Okay. But you said there's something on the inside. How can we investigate it if we don't uncork it?
I don't know. If you can't see it, then you obviously can't investigate something you can't see.
But you
And
can.
if it's what we think it is, then I don't want to expose anybody else to it.
What do you perhaps believe it to be?
Not good.
You feel like you're being deliberately vague.
I'm giving you all the information I have. It came off of a stain, off of notes from some alchemist, and it looks evil to me. And then we put it in a bottle, and it's not what it was when we put it in the bottle. So,
What does it look like to you
Concerning.
now?
like the entire inside of the bottle is coated, isn't coated, but is it? I'd say a cloud, but that's not right either.
They start trying a bunch of different spells on this, and hold on a sec. Let me. I think this is a thing, right? Yeah. So they eventually get to casting a specific spell. And then for a moment they stop and look at all of you. Where did you got this off of a paper?
Yes.
In where?
In the... Wait, whose paper was it on? Oh, I think it was from the Hall of Records.
I'm sorry, I cannot let you have this back.
What is it?
This is a disease, I can tell, from what I've done. I don't know what it is. Like it must not have been something that anyone has ever discovered.
Harcourt licked it. No,
I
wait.
didn't lick it. That was
Zug licked
Doug licked
it.
No, it's Harcourt.
According to my understanding through communion with Shishat, this disease has a specific target within your mind that it will change. I don't really get what though, because it says it will... The side effects of the disease will make you sick, but then it will also make you remember and forget things. But as soon as that coalesced in my head,
You forgot.
I didn't forget.
Uh-oh.
She passes out.
Oh, God.
Good, we killed a priest.
Can we go... Is someone else around to, like...
Immediately, other priests come over, and like pick her up, and they're kind of looking at things, trying to figure out what's happened. What went on here?
And we go through explaining the whole thing again.
Okay. Do you know what she so you explained that she said it was a disease, and then all of a sudden they quickly take a moment and they cast some spells on her. She herself is not sickened. Why would she lose consciousness like this? After a few moments of them like conversing with each other, there is the sound of a door opening in the distance, and everyone kind of comes to a complete silence as a figure strides forward, and the people part, and a older looking woman steps forward and leans down next to the person and looks at the bottle. The 5 of you need to come with me. There's much to discuss, but we should not talk of it here. Here there are people that can listen, and this is something that if Thoth were to learn of, we might all have greater problems. And she picks up the vial. Please follow me.
Yep, I follow.
Following.
The 5 of you will be taken back to the room that she came through. As you step inside and out, you will be in a room, a room that looks very clean. The walls appear to be marble. The ground has a sort of like cloudy feel to it. Like as you step on it, it feels sort of like walking on a very soft, sort of squishy, but not too squishy ground. And the doors close behind you. And she will turn and look to the 5 of you. I'm not supposed to speak of your... I don't even know where to begin with this, Sishat. She reaches over and hands the vial back to you. This isn't what I would do, I think, in this situation. But she has advised me that this is connected most likely to something called a candor. She says, though, that Harcourt, your father, or I'm sorry, that your grandfather.
Yeah. Worry about him. He's dead.
I know he's dead. More importantly, however, your grandfather is connected to this in some way. Are you familiar with religion at all?
Nope.
Maybe you've heard at least of people talking about the 8.
Yeah. The Temple of the 8 is on the edge of my grandfather's town.
Yes.
Or I should say the shrine. Better phrase.
Your grandfather helped remind people of the lost religion of the 8. It's, from everything that I can understand from this, it is related to that and the events that transpired there that are why this disease exists and where it, well, not this that's in the bottle. This that's in the bottle, she says, is the cure, but not the cure. She advises that it will cure the disease, but it will not... It won't fix the problem. I'm sorry that she's speaking to me in riddles, but it sounds like when I was communing with her, she doesn't quite understand it herself. She says this is the kind of thing that only Kandor would know.
Of course.
And that even getting the answers from Kandor might not give you the answers. Then she says, fuck you, Kandor. And I don't know why that little tidbit was included.
They knew each other?
Then Kandor would be a god.
My understanding of who he was and or is kind of shaky. I've traveled with him, sort of.
What?
It's unimportant. I know where he is.
Good. Then take this file to him and hopefully he will have more answers for you. Or
Good.
maybe more questions.
Probably more questions knowing Kandor.
But don't open it up.
I'll let him and Narenhawk do that.
And you said she looks over at Zug. You tasted it?
Yes.
Did you feel it take any effect on you?
No. Like I sensed some stuff for a moment, but then it went away.
If you should feel anything start to change about what you remember, please come back here as soon as you can. But I don't see any sign of disease in you right now. And that is where we will wrap up for today. Do you like all your notes, Whitney?
You know what's funny? How, like, I always say I write too much for papers and stuff. Well, no, I don't have a choice.
I'm sorry. Somebody else could take these notes, or nobody could take these notes.
Yeah, that turns out really well.
We'll hand out some XPs.
For this week and last week.
For this week and last. I think including both together, everybody can take 1,500 experience. And then Pax, Whitney, you can take an extra 400 for the 2 recaps.
400 each?
No, 200 for each recap. And are there any other questions before we wrap up? The cameras keep getting foobarred.
I will we visit Kandor right now.
No. It is 9:50. We don't have time for that.
What if we throw Kandor into the Underdark?
He's not
Like
going to
it.
go willingly.
I said throw him,
And on top,
not ask him.
and on top of that, we'd have to get him out of the time traveling house.
That is true.
It's not time traveling, it's time static. There's a difference.
Yeah.
It itself cannot move through time. It is always in the same moment in time, regardless of what time does around it. It's time static. There are a lot of hints, by the way, that I've given you guys for a lot of this, so...
No pressure. You just should be...
No, I don't.
Yeah, no.
I don't necessarily expect that anybody's figured it out. But I'm saying that because if you think on it, maybe some stuff might add together that you might not be thinking about.
I mean, isn't it the thing that we dealt with in the other game? Like, I mean,
No, there is actually a separation. Some of this is connected together. Some of this is separate from the two. So
okay, yeah, because I was like, I mean, it's just the breaking the wall. But okay.
all right. Well, good night, everyone. And I don't know what to do about next week. We don't have Whitney next week, right? Because you're not back till Monday, right? Or
I'm not
no,
back till
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah. But after that, I'm gonna be out on the next weekend, so it wouldn't be till the 15th before we would have another session.
You can meet without me, just don't let anything important happen.
Who's taking notes then?
Whitney's ghost.
The accountant.
All right, I'll think about this for a little bit and then decide what to do. But right now, we'll kind of stick with the assumption that we probably won't go forward next week. So,
Okay.
all right. Good night, everybody.
Later.
Right.